We've just been through quite a week in Washington. Followed by quite a day yesterday. A rare Saturday session of the Senate in which former President Donald Trump was acquitted after a historic second impeachment trial.
Is not guilty as charged in the article of impeachment.
The vote was 57 guilty, 43 not guilty, short of the two-thirds majority required. Here's Major Garrett to sum things up.
The yeas are 57. The nays are 43.
The final vote on acquittal came 10 votes short of the 67 required to convict former President Donald Trump of inciting the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol.
We fight like hell, and if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
That assault by flag-waving armed Trump supporters came shortly after the president spoke and followed months of him spewing the so-called big lie that he had been fraudulently denied re-election. Democratic impeachment manager Joe Neguse of Colorado.
Because he assembled the mob, he summoned the mob, and he incited the mob.
Mr. Burr, guilty.
7 Republicans voted to convict, not among them Kentucky's Mitch McConnell. Yet the Senate Minority Leader later excoriated Mr. Trump's election fraud lies and the violence that he said flowed from them.
There's no question. None. That President Trump is practically and morally responsible for provoking the events of the day.
History will record this impeachment process, both in the House and the Senate, as the most bipartisan exercise of its kind. Acquittal, as we know, was almost always certain. But the trial was about much more than the verdict. It established a historical record about what happened that horrible day. New video released during the proceedings revealed the mob beating and bludgeoning law enforcement, at least one officer pinned in agony between doors. More than 130 officers were injured, many seriously. 1 died. 2 committed suicide in the immediate aftermath of the onslaught. Impeachment manager David Cicilline of Rhode Island praised the police.
They showed up here to serve the American people, to serve their government, to serve all of us.
For the first time, we saw Vice President Mike Pence and his entourage exiting the Senate chamber seeking safety. Senator Mitt Romney running from marauders guided by Capitol Police Officer Eugene Goodman. And this, Senate Democratic Leader Charles Schumer, led by his armed security, retreating down a basement hallway.
Is this America?
Lead impeachment manager Jamie Raskin of Maryland.
Can our country and our democracy ever be the same if we don't hold accountable the person responsible for inciting the violent attack against our country?
The trial exposed Republican divisions over Mr. Trump's offenses and their gravity, and affirmed the former president's powerful sway over the GOP. The specter of a 2024 Trump bid for the presidency hung over the proceedings. House Manager Ted Lieu of California.
You know, I'm not afraid of Donald Trump running again in 4 years. I'm afraid he's going to run again and lose, because he can do this again.
House managers argued President Trump spent months spreading disinformation that culminated in an ugly spectacle. Delegate Stacey Plaskett of the Virgin Islands.
And he had a pattern and practice of praising and encouraging that violence, never, ever condemning it. The insurgents believed that they were doing the duty of their president. They were following his orders.
The former president's legal team knew they'd likely prevail and mounted a defense based on complaints about partisanship, process, and First Amendment protections for political speech. Attorney Michael Vanderveen.
No thinking person could seriously believe that the president's January 6th speech on the ellipse was in any way an incitement to violence or insurrection.
Attorney David Schoen.
You get more due process than this when you fight a parking ticket.
Mr. Trump's lawyers accused Democrats of using language similar to their clients.
To fight.
We have been fighting our fight.
Suddenly, the word fight is off limits? Spare us the hypocrisy and false indignation.
Left unsaid, none of those examples were followed by armed insurrection. The president's attorneys did not attempt to counter the accusation Mr. Trump did nothing to stop the violence once it started. Nor do they deny the election was fair and accurate.
This trial, in the final analysis, is not about Donald Trump. The country and the world know who Donald Trump is. This trial is about who we are. Who we are.
At one point in the trial, Congressman Raskin quoted French Enlightenment philosopher Voltaire.
Anyone who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities.
Another of Voltaire's observations might also apply. Every man is guilty of all the good he did not do.